Right, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about a situation where an athlete who was sponsored by a protein company has recently came out with a series of videos calling out said protein company, and specifically the owner of the company. There's quite a few videos to get through here. But before we do get any of that, I do just want to give a bit of a pre-warning, right? So today, my allergies have been absolutely battering me. So if I look like I've been rubbing my face for like 7 hours straight, that's because I kind of have. And if I sound like Squidward throughout this video, that's because I can't really breathe through my nose. So yeah, just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. But back to the topic at hand. So there's a few people you need to be aware of here. The first one being Lauren Pond Lifts. She's a TikToker of about 70,000 followers and makes a lot of like lifting videos or fitness videos. Now a company you need to be aware of here is Boba Tea Protein. And the owner of Boba Tea Protein, who is being called out in these videos, is Neil Hong. I believe that's how the surname is pronounced after watching Lauren's videos. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. Now Lauren was a sponsored athlete for Boba Tea Protein and recently made a video talking about how she had been there for quite a long time at this point, but has decided to not renew her contract.
I've been with this company since the very beginning, and I remember getting their first marketing packages in 2021 and helping them grow and eventually becoming their first sponsored athlete. It's a super exciting time, but recently, after doing a lot of self-reflection and thinking a lot about what matters most to me and where my values are, I've actually decided not to continue with Boba Tea Protein and not renew my contract, which is actually ending next week. I'm just really grateful to this company though, because I met a lot of really amazing people. I'm still really good friends with a lot of the current athletes and also ex-employees. Now, I also want to take this time to extend my gratitude to people who have used my code and also supported me throughout my ever-evolving fitness journey. I am excited for all the new opportunities that are to come.
Now, judging just off that video, it doesn't really scream that something has happened here, right? It maybe just seems like they've decided that renewing the contract isn't the best for both of them, and it was like a mutual agreement, no drama here. But it turns out this isn't really the case, because in the next video, Lauren explains that they didn't end on good terms.
This is part 2 to why I left Boba Tea Protein and why I didn't renew my contract. Everything was really like what the heck is going on here? So just to make it very clear now, no, things did not end on good terms with Boba Tea Protein. I am no longer friends with Neil Hong, the owner. If you guys don't know, like the Asian fitness community is quite small and a lot of us know each other, and that's how we became friends, especially because I had helped him with Boba Tea Protein. I helped him like promote his product like for free for years before he actually signed me on as his first athlete.
Now we still don't really get a lot of answers in this video in particular. It's the next video where we get a lot more of the details, but Lauren does go on to explain in this video that she is launching this product which is like protein biscuit snacks or sticks, and then also mentions the fact that Neil, the owner, wanted her to sign an NDA but she didn't sign it.
Both him and I are entrepreneurs. He obviously owns Boba Tea Protein. I own a snack company called Pon Snacks, which is a protein biscuit stick, and that is going to be coming out in the next couple months. Before I left the company, he did try to make me sign an NDA. I declined to sign the NDA, and some other things happened. Some legal things actually did happen.
So let's get into the details of what allegedly has happened here, right? So Lauren mentions that she was starting this brand, right? These protein sticks. Now Neil wanted to be part of this business. Lauren trusted him, thought it was a good idea. But now Lauren has found out that Neil is allegedly starting his own business, which is pretty much the same product, but for himself.
I trusted Neil Hong, the founder of Boba Tea Protein, to help me be a strategic consultant for my brand, Pon Snacks. It is a protein biscuit stick. Recently, I have discovered that he is trying to make this product on his own. There's no words to describe what it feels like to see all of your hard work, something that you dreamed of, be mimicked by someone that you really trusted.
So Lauren then goes on to explain how she came up with the idea for this product. She was posting some stuff on a close friend story. Neil, being on a close friend story, saw this and actually messaged her boyfriend. The message says, "I want to be involved in this so badly. I understand the financials of a profitable business. I got connections in supply chain and I know logistics. I know cash flow, I know negotiations, I know branding, I know marketing. Lauren, please." And again, you've got to remember here that Lauren says continuously throughout this that Neil was someone that she trusted, right? Someone that she has worked with, being a sponsored athlete for his brand. And she thought this would be a good idea since he's already proven that he can make a successful business. She then talks about the deal that they agreed on, but then there quickly started to be a few red flags.
So we agreed that he would be a consultant for 10% of the company in exchange for a 10% capital contribution. First red flag was when I felt a shift in the power dynamics, and Neil kept trying to add a bunch of different things in the operating agreement, which took an entire year of him just constantly doing that trying to add more power to himself. My lawyer had pointed this out, that a little odd that he was trying to always push these things and he just didn't want anything to harm my company. And it wasn't until I started pushing back on this one clause that he really wanted, was that he wouldn't allow me to do any sort of collaborations with Asian-inspired brands without his explicit approval. And I'm not talking about making Asian flavored protein powders that directly compete with him, but literally just making t-shirts or other potentially co-branded non-competing collabs. I tried to clarify what he meant, and he shifted the conversation to saying that all these collaborations would not benefit Pon Pon at all, but they would come to a lot of harm to his own brand, and that I would benefit the most from just collaborating with him.
Okay, so let's take a read through some of these screenshots, right? So there's this one here saying, is there any way to rewrite that line to make it more clear that managers slash members slash etc. of Pon Pon can engage specifically in brand licensing with other companies that may be in competition with Pon Pon? Thank you. So Lauren was showing this to say that he was trying to get more power in the business. Lauren then shows this email from her lawyer, I believe, basically saying like, are you sure you're okay with the decisions that Neil is making here? Even going as far as say, Neil has been pushing for this for a while and I want to make sure it won't be adverse to you or the company. A message here from Neil saying he wants a sub-clause in the contract that says Pon Pon may work with those brands upon request and approval from Neil. And bearing in mind, this is coming from someone who does have a percentage in the company, but 10% of the company. And from what we're hearing here, some pretty big asks as well, right? Like not collaborating with any Asian-inspired products, even if it's just like t-shirts, which doesn't compete with Neil's brand at all, right? Protein powder, t-shirts, no correlation. Lauren then goes on to explain when she would voice her concerns with these and try and like give some pushback here, Neil would kind of just turn it on her.
And when I still didn't agree and tried to ask for more clarification, he responded by giving me threats. He threatened to pull out of the partnership, directly compete with me, and pull his marketing agency connection from working with my boyfriend's company. I figured he knew more than me. What the heck do I know? Even then, it still just didn't sit right with me, and I started to really feel like he was just really working with me to protect Boba protein rather than help me in Pon Pon.
Yeah, I mean, again, let's have a read through here. So it says, hey Lauren, let's schedule a call about this. If you want to spend time considering this further, consider the below and that this is a hard line for me. The risk is that I pull out of this deal altogether. Notorious and Pon Pon benefit and will benefit greatly from my network. I will ask if blank will pull away from Notorious. I hope you don't take this as a threat, but this is just the business side of the direction you're headed towards. There's one more risk, Lauren. Boba Tea Protein has plans to dip into more blank. We're working on blank. Was a part of our product roadmap until I got involved with Pon Pon. So you're basically holding all of this over me. Sounds pretty threatening to me. I think it sounds threatening to you because Pon Pon is not in a secure spot yet. So yeah, judging from these messages, if these blank things are talking about products that are obviously very similar to Pon Pon, then yeah, it really does come across as he's saying like, we should probably work on this together because I'm going to create something that's very similar, and I've already got like a much bigger brand to help me with that, and obviously that's going to be scary for Lauren. Lauren then says she offered him a fair proposal, basically talking about how she won't collaborate with any brands that actually compete with his business, but again, he doesn't really seem happy with that.
Fast forward a couple months later, I offered him a proposal that I felt like was really fair, trying to find a middle ground that would make sense for both of us. He started to accuse me of having ulterior motives and that some third party was advising me against him. We usually when I have a call with him, he tends to dominate the conversation, so I just felt more comfortable just talking to him through Discord. He then said that the proposal was completely unreasonable, countering that he would need 50% of the company due to the damage that it would do to Boba Tea Protein if I was allowed to make t-shirts with other brands.
Yeah, I did pause this a little bit early, but we can see on screen here it says he had still contributed $0 to Pon Pon, so that's important here. Lauren says that Neil didn't contribute any money to this brand the time that he was actually working with her, and not only didn't contribute any money, but actually only logged 23 hours of work towards the brand. This was in a 1.5 year time frame, right? 23 hours in a 1.5 years. And then in this final video, we hear Lauren explain that Neil had allegedly been contacting some factories that Lauren had previously worked with to find out the recipe for her products.
And to my shock, he had contacted one of my previous factories, requested for confidential information about our recipes to try to make our product. And to make matters worse, I found out that he contacted the company that he didn't want me to collaborate with, and he wanted to invest in them, and he didn't tell me about it. Literally around the time that he added a clause that I could not work with other Asian-inspired brands.
But also we can see by these text messages, it looks like the way that Lauren found this out, that Neil was contacting these like factories that Lauren had previously worked with, is because one of the factories actually messaged Lauren meaning to send it to Neil instead. So we can see here it says, Dear Neil, thank you for your early reply. I've checked your product requirements on your company's website. This year, an American customer contacted me and carried out the product research and development you requested. You could confirm the product ingredients and test data in the attachment. To which Lauren replied saying, Hi, I'm a little confused. Did you mean to send this message to Neil? And then there's something blanked out and it says, but did he reach out to you for information about the products? And then there's like the text in the way. Lauren also says, I would respectfully ask that you not reveal the recipe, ingredients, or formula with him. To which the factory seems to have replied replied here saying, "Sorry, I have sent email to Neil and provided the product test date." So by the looks of it, without this message accidentally being sent to the wrong person, Lauren wouldn't have found out about this. Lauren then goes on to explain that she confronted Neil about this, like contacting the factories. They were trying to discuss a way for Neil to like leave the company. He wanted 66 grand to do this.
Later, we confronted him and told him we knew exactly what he had done and that he contacted my factory to try to make our product. And we proceeded to have our lawyers try to make a mutual release so that we could formally separate. So despite putting no money in and never finalizing the operating agreement, he was requesting for 66 grand for 20 hours of advisorship. 66 grand for doing almost like nothing. 66 grand in order for him to leave PonPon.
Lauren didn't agree to this, but did offer 10 grand and then goes on further to explain that Neil is now trying to allegedly copy the company or make something very similar.
I still agree that I would pay him out $10,000 in order for him to no longer be part of the company and we have a clean break. And despite him still trying to fight to be in PonPon and still asking me if he could still be part of it, right around Black Friday when we were still talking, he had made a domain called Sugoi Snacks. From what I hear now, he is actually trying to launch this product. He has filed a LLC for Sugoi Snacks. From everything that he has learned from PonPon, in the year and a half that he was working with me.
Now, Lauren does end this video by saying that she's not going to give up just because of this one person, and I think the one positive that's going to come out of the fact that she's made these videos, and they've been seen by a lot of people at this point, right? Actually, how many people? So in total, with the 5 videos that Lauren has uploaded, about 1.2 million views in total. So that's a lot of people that have seen Lauren's side of things, and obviously, as you can imagine, it's resulted in a lot of comments on Neil's social media, and I imagine if he does end up launching a product that is very similar to PonPon, then there's also going to be a lot of comments there kind of explaining what's happened.
Suddenly, him contacting my factory and trying to put in our mutual release that I just couldn't say anything, and it all makes sense. And I've put so much of my heart and soul into this project for 2.5 years now. And I'm not gonna give up just because of this one person. I'm just gonna keep trekking forward.
So yeah, like I mentioned, Neil's social media comments are filled with people just kind of talking about this, right? I mean, a lot of people are just saying stuff like, nah, Coke, there's like this popcorn gif, no longer going to be buying your protein products, integrity or lack thereof always come to light, no longer supporting your products, never want to support you, glad I didn't start buying products, so 66k for 11 hours of work, you ain't that special bro. If you launch the Sugoi Snacks, millions of us on TikTok will make sure that absolutely no one buys them, what a horrible thing to do to someone who helped you with your company and you paid her nothing, shame on you. So yeah, I think it's important to note here that we haven't got a response from Neil, right? Obviously, if he does respond, there might be a part 2 of this. If you're interested in a part 2, let me know. But from everything we're seeing here, it definitely doesn't look good. And like I mentioned, if Neil does end up releasing this product in the future, I think the comment section is going to be filled with people pointing this out, and it might get to the point where Neil doesn't want to launch this product because of the situation, who knows? What it seems like to me, in my opinion, is that Neil was taking advantage of the fact that he does have a successful business from what I can see here, and he wanted to use the fact that he has a successful business to make Lauren believe that he is making the right decisions for the company and not just for him. But yeah, looking at the comment section on Lauren's videos, the vast majority of people are supporting her, and I think when it comes to Lauren actually launching the product, she's also going to get a lot of support. So I think that is one positive that's kind of come out from all of this. But yeah, I can't imagine how stressful this has been, right? A year and a half's worth of work potentially being copied by someone that she trusted, first of all, but also someone who has the ability to kind of launch this a lot faster, right? Because again, he already has a successful business. I imagine like a good chunk of money to try and launch the product as fast as possible. I can't imagine how shitty this must have felt for Lauren. But with that all being said, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below on everything that we spoke about. Who do you think's in the right? Who do you think's in the wrong? Just all your thoughts on everything that we spoke about. And yeah, if you let me know in the comment section. Also, if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.